see this presentation. The research is about climate change both in Macedonia and throughout the world, which are done in the first and second communication, 2003 and 2008. Here we adopted it, and we involved the Hydrometeorological Institute of Macedonia in this process. So the title is The Climate and Climate Change Research in Macedonia in 20th and 21st Century. On this slide, you can see the historical background by Fourier, Tyndall, and some other about climate changes and related with the CO2 emission and the greenhouse effect. As recently we have a lot of overlapping terms regarding the weather and climate. On this slide I show the difference between the weather and the climate. Here we have the weather forecast, which goes up to 7 days, maximum 1 to 2 weeks. Here we have climate variability, climate changes, and here we have a climate system which has internal, external factors, the elements of the greenhouse emission, ocean, soil, ice. Although it's well known, these are the scenarios, emission scenarios in 21st century. Which are given at the RAIN Global Panel in 2007. It is demonstrated by this tree. On the branches you have A1, A2, B1 and B2 are different scenarios, unlike the previous report where we have A, B, C, D, E, F. These are radioactive forcing components, radiative forcing components. There are a lot of differences among the scientists in terms whether in the future are we going to have global warming or global freezing. We have different gas emissions, CO2, N2O, and aerosol, which are impacting in another direction. Here we have a scheme showing the quantity of solar rays, 372 watts per square meter, and how it's spread in the atmosphere, and the impact of the radiation of the Earth's surface to the atmosphere, and the impact of the greenhouse gases, which are actually impacting on the global warming. Based on the current researches, we have the monitoring which has been set up in 1997 by the UNEP, World Meteorological Organization, and the United Nations Environmental Fund. Here we have the future climate changes, the increase in temperature of air in 21st century, and the difference between the scenarios from IS 92 and the new scenarios, which are very frequent.
На некој начин развојна обштествата, односно државите и нивната и зголемувањето на
If we continue developing the societies in an inadequate way and a growing population, here we have a greenhouse emission and a concentration of polluters, their impact on the temperature of air, temperature of sea, precipitates and repercussions which are impacting on the whole system. Here we have stratospheric ozone area and the impact on this belt by the CO2 emission gas. Then we have desertification, water, forestry, biodiversity. This is a well-known scheme. Here we have reports. The first report at the international panel was presented in 1980. Then we have a second one in 1995. And in 1997 we have Kyoto Protocol. These are reports from 2001, title head pages from certain documents which are issued by the International Panel for Climate Change. These are some bulletins from 2007, and this is observation system of Macedonia. These are hydrometeorological stations in all climatic areas of Macedonia, hydrological observation system, and measurements which we are implementing on the rivers in Macedonia. Here we have radars, precipitation measurement. We have the anti-hail polygons, fields where we can actually put these radars. This is the first report from 2003. This is a government document. This report was adopted by the government of Macedonia. We have analyzed the temperature and precipitation in period as of 1926 to 2005. Taking into account the five longest meteorological cycles in the 20th century, this is demonstrated at the level of the individual stations, hydromet stations in Skopje in the winter time, in the summertime. In the last 15-20 years, you can see a certain increase of temperature during the summer time. This is Štip, Bitog, other cities. It's not so important because we have a lot of slides. I want to go further. We have analyzed 5 sectors: agriculture, forestry, water resources, human health, and biodiversity. This was in the first and the second national report. This is in 2006 we adopted. In 2008, actually, we adopted the second national report. These are some analyses from the previous period. We have done the alignment of the historical data from these 5 stations, and we have included 2 new cities, although we have a smaller series of data in this regard, and it's demonstrated that the change of temperature in the high altitudes, we have parallel data So this is telling something about the quality of data which we have at our disposal. Here I can't draw any specific conclusion because we have a certain cold period, and during the cold period in July, in the last 70 years, in 1977 we have a general trend of increase of air temperature during the summertime. Here we have data on annual precipitations in Skopje and Bitola. This is at annual level in Macedonia. Here there is a small review regarding the decision-making process and signing of the Ramsar Convention and Kyoto Protocol. Here we are actually comparing periods from 1961 to 1990 and 1971 to 2000. Before analyzing these periods, we use them to analyze the changes in climate. Regarding the analysis for the future situation, we have 6 scenarios, one from the UK, one from the Australia Institute and Canadian IS 92A and IS 92C, and we have the business as usual scenario and the unusual scenario, and we are using this IC92, which is made by the UK and the UNEP. These are some of the results at the annual level from 21st century. I'm just going through this. I have more than 60 slides. I don't want to bother you with this. You will have this results of this presentation. We have been using the result from the scenarios A12, AF12, the scenarios which I mentioned at the beginning, which are coming from the 4th International Panel on Climate Changes. This is the climate valorization of Republic of Macedonia, repercussions which occurred in all of the climate areas. This is the number of summer days, air temperature 25 degrees, and the changes in the space on the territory of Montenegro. We have the tropical part, the most endangered area is close to Greece. Then we have some chilly, frozen, freezing days. Days when we have ice, so icy days, and these are certain scenarios in 21st century and about different climate areas where we have, for example, Jevgelija, Petrovac, steep valleys. These are different areas in Macedonia. Bito de Ohrid has representative data. The biggest impact will be along the river of Vardar, because we expect that temperatures will rise in Macedonia to a certain degree, and we're going to have less precipitations. This is according to the elevation heights, and this is the last slide, comparison. This is difference between the precipitations according to the first report and second report at the annual level. We have the changes in temperature and precipitations. In the second report, we have drastic difference between these two climate periods. Thank you.